everyone, welcome to the Captain Drone YouTube channel. My name is Steve and this video is all about the brand new Insta360 Ace Pro 2. Now before I begin this review, I have to say the following. I'm not sponsored by Insta360, nor have they paid me any money to make this review, nor have they even seen this review. They're seeing it at the same time you're seeing it, and nor have they told me what to say in this review. This is a 100% honest review by Captain Drone, as are all my reviews. I don't even know why I have to say this at the beginning, but I have to say it at the beginning of this review because there's some goofballs out there who think that Insta360 tells people what to say. But Insta360 did send me the Ace Pro 2 so I could review it and show it to you. Now I know there's a lot of people out there who love GoPro, and in this review I do have the GoPro Hero 13, so I did compare it against the new Insta360 Ace Pro 2. And the final thing to say before I show you my review is that the review could be very long if I showed you all the features of the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. It would take hours upon hours. But what I did instead was just to focus on what is really new and awesome on the new version of the camera versus the previous version of the camera. I think that's best for you, the viewer, because that's basically what you want to know. So I'll stop talking and here's my review. Here we have the brand new Insta360 Ace Pro 2 on the left, and we have the previous model on the right. Let me tell you what's new and improved. The Ace Pro 2 contains the latest generation of 1/1.3 inch 8K sensors with 13.5 stops of dynamic range. The Leica lens cover is now removable, and the lens inside is now a wider field of view. The Ace Pro 2 is the only action camera on the market currently with dual AI processing chips inside. The audio recorded with this action camera is superior to most action cameras, mainly because of this brand new wind guard. The camera is now waterproof to a depth of 12 meters, which is 39 feet, and it even has an underwater filming mode. The camera can now shoot video at 8K 30 frames per second and shoot active HDR video at 4K 60 frames per second, but more impressively, it can shoot night video at 4K 60 frames per second. It can also shoot video in a log profile if desired, and for photos, it's up to 50 megapixels now. Even the flow state has been upgraded, so you'll never receive vibrations or jello in any video shots you take. For professionals out there that shoot with multiple cameras at once, a time code sync has been added. Now let's take a look at the rear of the camera to see what's new. The screen is still a flip-up display, but now this 2.5-inch screen is now wider and brighter. And the last really impressive item to tell you is that there's a new battery, 1800 milliamp hours, and it will get you 3 hours of recording. Now, since the new camera has so many features, you probably think it weighs more than the previous camera, but no, the previous camera is actually heavier than the new camera. The Ace Pro 2 only weighs 177 grams, so this makes it perfect to place on an FPV drone. So I placed it on the Afterburner 5 FPV Cinema drone, and I used the mount that comes with the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. Now, since the Ace Pro 2 has a flip-up display screen, you can leave the camera on the drone at an angle, flip up the screen, set your settings, start your recording, go for a flight. Now, the first thing to mention is that the weight of the camera is not even noticeable when using it on a 4-inch or 5-inch FPV quad. This means that you will get the best image possible and still be able to do crazy FPV freestyle, anything you're used to. Now, in my personal opinion, I find that the image from the Ace Pro 2 on an FPV quad is going to give you something you've never seen from any other camera. This means that when you're flying in dark areas or bright areas, the image is always perfectly exposed. As an example, check out the images on screen. Dark areas and bright areas. Do you notice that the exposure doesn't change? As an example, even if you photograph the sun in your image, the ground will not turn dark. Everything stays properly exposed. So when you're flopping around the skies, your exposure is going to look perfect no matter which direction you're pointing. And let us not forget, this is one of the few action cameras that accepts a GPS signal from pretty much anything popular on the market, even your Apple Watch, which then means you can place any recorded GPS stats on your recorded display so you can show people how cool your FPV flight was. So for this example, I placed my current speed in the lower left. In the upper left, I placed my direction of travel as well as the longitude latitude. And in the top right, I placed my total distance traveled. Now the footage that you record in the Ace Pro 2 is always going to look super smooth, and I'm going to show you that by placing the Ace Pro 2 on top of my Losi DB-XL and taking it for a drive at full speed, and you'll see how smooth everything looks. And Jedi Steve's going to join me using his Arrma Fire Team. You can see that the image is super smooth with the cars bouncing around. However, Jedi Steve and his Arrma Fire Team, he's shooting up a bunch of crap onto the lens of my camera. This means I'll have to point the camera backwards. Now the great thing about this image is that not only is everything smooth, but look at the cameras facing the sun and everything is completely exposed perfectly. You can also add motion blur to the image, so right now there's no motion blur, now there's motion blur. Motion blur just blurs the sides of the image so that it looks like you're going super fast. The Ace Pro 2 can record at night in the dark better than any other action camera currently available on the market. Now I do not recommend any FPV drone pilots try this because look at the image in my DJI FPV goggles. It's pitch black, I can't see anything, but however, the Ace Pro 2 can see everything. This image is absolutely stunning. Look at the field, look at the players, look at the horizon and all the colors. And now watch what happens when I switch back to my DJI FPV camera. The image suddenly goes from bad to worse. But here's some more stunning footage from the Ace Pro 2 camera flying in pitch blackness. There is no other camera on the market that can do this on an FPV drone. So if you want to fly an FPV drone at night and film, this is the camera you need. So in order to fly this drone in pitch blackness, I had to point the nose at any type of light source. And when there's no light source, I was just staring at the horizon. This became a problem when trying to land the drone because I couldn't find the landing pad. Everything was black. But the Ace Pro 2 could see everything quite nicely. I wish I would have seen this image so that I didn't crash into the ground. Now I also tried my RC car with the Ace Pro 2 at night, and again the image is quite stunning. I'll show you some footage here. The light source you see is coming from the light bar you see on the Losi DB-XL. Even when I put my car away in my garage, which is pitch black, check it out. Everything is lit up so nicely. Now this portion of the Ace Pro 2 review is being shot outdoors in the rain. Yes, it's raining right now. Hopefully you can see that. So this camera is now waterproof to a depth of this many meters and this many feet. But you know what? That's not important right now because this is going to be an audio test. So right now I have a Bluetooth microphone attached to the Ace Pro 2. It's a DJI mic right here and it's connected via Bluetooth. So as I walk backwards here, how does it sound? You know, if you're vlogging, I'm just holding this camera out at arm's length. I have it on pretty wide view, but how does that sound? It should sound pretty good. All right, I've disconnected the Bluetooth mic and I'm gonna try to turn the camera this way so that the raindrops don't fall on the lens and mess everything up. So right now I've got the Ace Pro 2 recording using the mic in the Ace Pro 2 and it's set to wind reduction. However, I can tell you right now, there is no wind out here. I'm gonna be very quiet. The only sound you should hear is basically raindrops falling all over me. So let me change the audio to another setting. So right now I have the audio set to voice enhancement. That means as long as I keep talking, it should only focus on my voice and ignore everything else around me. So if there was a construction site near me, it would ignore that and just focus on my voice. But right now, once again, the only noise here are the raindrops. Here, I'll be quiet for a sec. Yeah, not much. So I don't know if you notice any difference in the audio. Let me try another one. And finally, this is the last setting. This is actually stereo audio. It's more if, say, I was at a concert and I wanted to film a band live, then I would put it on this one and it would get the best audio sound. Right now, it doesn't really care about my voice. It's more about giving you really high quality sound, not voice, but all the spectrum of the audio. This is the audio coming out of the camera. It's about arm's length away and I have it on wind reduction. It's not on voice isolation, it's on wind reduction, but I'm just seeing if it picks out my voice over all this traffic noise here. Let me change it to voice isolation. Okay, so they call it voice enhancement. I call it voice isolation, but it's pretty noisy here with cars going by. Does it just pick out my voice and ignore all the cars around? You know, if it does, it's really good because it's pretty noisy here right now. So that would be awesome if it does. I'll have to check this out when I get home. The phone app for the Ace Pro 2 has a new feature called GPS Activity Stats. It is simply a GPS monitoring stats tool in case you don't have one on your phone, and you can link the data with your Ace Pro 2. So as an example, my Ace Pro 2 is recording video, and the video it's recording looks like this. Now my phone is also recording stats, and the stats, if I want to place them on the video, it looks like this. Starting with the lower left, I've placed the date as well as the time. Above this is my route from start to finish, and in the upper left I've placed the total distance traveled so far. In the top right I've placed my elevation, followed by the slope grade percentage below it, and finally at the bottom right I have placed my current speed. All of this can be customized however you desire. Now there is a new type of dash cam feature on the camera, and I gave it a try one morning while going on a short trip. In essence, it looks at your micro SD card in your camera, sees how much available space is remaining, and it keeps on recording video to fit that space. And it adds the recorded date and time to the video, which you can see in the lower right hand side of my screen. And for safety reasons, just in case you get into an accident and the camera is totaled and your files are lost, well, it records video up to a duration of 1 minute per file. So if you drive for 1 hour, you will have 60 recorded files on your micro SD card. The Ace Pro 2 can now record at 4K 120 frames per second or 1080p at 240 frames per second. This crash was recorded at 120 frames per second in 4K. And this is what 240 frames per second looks like in 1080p. And here's a few more segments. I'll put what the frame rate is on the screen. And here is what 8K recorded video looks like. The benefit of 8K is that you can crop into your recorded footage as if you had a zoom lens. If you wish to record a video in high dynamic range, the Ace Pro 2 now allows you to record in log format. Your image will appear flat, but when you add a LUT or do the color correction yourself, it looks like this. Quite spectacular. Now when taking photos, you can take photos at the full 50 megapixels using the full sensor at 4.3, or you can shoot at 12.5 megapixels, and you can also use the sensor at 16:9. You can take photos with high dynamic range turned on or off, and finally photos can be taken with PureShot as well as a timer. Here's a simple photo I took at 50 megapixels using the entire sensor. HDR was on as well as PureView, and if I zoom in, check out the detail. You can easily read the house number, and when I zoom back out, you can see how far I zoomed in. Now features like clarity zoom are still present. You just double tap the screen or click on the 1 or the 2. Here's what a recorded image looks like with clarity zoom. When you double tap, you zoom right in and the image is perfectly clear, and you double tap again and you zoom right back out. Also, in shooting photos or video, you have various field of view options. The Ace Pro 2 comes with an 1800 mAh battery, and if you charge up that battery using a fast charger, then you can charge it to 80% within 18 minutes. And when the battery is fully charged, the Ace Pro 2 will run for 3 hours. Now if you plug one end of a USB-C cable into your Ace Pro 2 and plug the other end into your cell phone, You can then charge up your cell phone. And you can even select the percentage of how much you wish to deplete the battery in the Ace Pro 2 before it shuts off charging your cell phone. So how does the new GoPro Hero 13 stack up against the amazing Ace Pro 2? Well, unfortunately, the GoPro Hero 13 is already at a disadvantage because it does not have a flip-up screen and it doesn't have dual image processors. So let's put both cameras to an image quality test using the same settings on each camera. We'll start out on a cloudy, overcast, rainy day. This is the image from the GoPro Hero 13 and you can see the camera settings on the left. The GoPro struggles in low light and that means the HDR struggles as well. Here we have the image from the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 and you can see the camera settings on the left. This is how an image should look with active HDR turned on. Here we have both images side by side. You can see that the HDR on the Ace Pro 2 camera is actually showing you more detail in the shadows than that of the GoPro camera. Now, how do these cameras perform in darkness? This is early morning and I have a little light above me, so I'm lit up. Hopefully both cameras can pick me up. And if I turn this way, it's super dark. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. And back to where this tiny light is. I'm walking and I have stabilization on both cameras, so there should be no bouncing in the image. Now don't be surprised with the poor results from the GoPro. GoPro cameras have never been good in low light, and we've just accepted it. But now that we have cameras like the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, well, you can expect good low light performance. So we saw that the GoPro is pretty bad in low light, but what if we add a little bit of light? So the sun is starting to come up, let's try again. So now it's 7 a.m. in the morning and you can see my little light up here isn't doing much, but there is sufficient light outside that both cameras should be able to pick me up now at 7 a.m. in the morning here in Canada, in my area of the world. And if I flip this way and look at my street behind me, there we go. Here you can see again that the GoPro camera lacks the ability to show detail in the shadows. It's just one big blob of darkness. Now historically, GoPro cameras have been known for getting the colors wrong in most lighting conditions, and as you can see in this image, it has the colors wrong. Okay, let's help the GoPro Hero 13 out and give it a bit more light. Alright, now it's 8 a.m. in the morning and yeah, I should be lit up quite well. Both of these cameras should work exceptionally well. The sun has come up. So now with a bit more light, the image from the GoPro is actually looking acceptable. There is still a lack of detail in the shadows, however, you know, the image is quite satisfactory. Now let's compare the Ace Pro 2's 8K video compared to the GoPro Hero 13's 5K video. Now a video shot in 8K and a video shot in 5K will produce a lot of detail. And the reason you want the detail is because you want to crop into the image and retain the detail. So from my perspective, both images look really good, but when you start to crop into an 8K and a 5K image, eventually the image is going to fall apart. Here you can see I'm showing you the same recorded video again, but this time I'm only showing you 35% of the video. In other words, I've zoomed in so far that only 35% of the video is showing. Obviously the 8K video has recorded more data so it looks better, but the 5K video is not that bad. And now I've done a massive crop on the same recorded image, which would appear to be like a zoom, and I've gone in so far that I'm only showing you 10% of the recorded image. Look at the quality of the Ace Pro 2. It looks really good. You can see that on the GoPro Hero 13 if you crop in this much while your image loses detail and it gets a bit blurry. Now for the cyclists out there, if you place the Ace Pro 2 on your handlebars, which are going to get a lot of vibrations and bouncing, you'll see that the image is actually quite smooth. And if you point the camera forward, well, the image is equally as smooth. And if you have a GPS device, you can add that GPS information to your video. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see I'm using a typical Garmin unit, and that Garmin GPS data has been transferred to this video. Now, if you're a mountain biker and you want zero vibrations, zero jello, then you must place the camera on your body or on your helmet, just like you would do with a GoPro. I have the camera mounted on my helmet for this segment of video. And now it's time for a super fast unboxing. So this would be the box, and this would be what's inside the box. You receive a nice shiny camera and a nice shiny battery. You're also advised to click on the QR code so that you can see tutorial videos as well as the manual. You also receive an action camera mount and a replacement mic guard for underwater. There are stickers, a quick start guide, a warranty guide, and a USB-C to USB-C cable for fast charging. Now I should also mention that Insta360 offers a really cool camera mount that's made out of aluminum, and it's very professional compared to the one that comes in the box. In addition, I also want to tell you that Insta360 also sells this tripod mount, which is also a grip mount. I have a pile of these and I use them with every action camera on the market. I use them every time I make a video review of any product. And finally, if you're heading off on vacation and you want to toss your camera into its own case, well, Insta360 makes this little 8 case that has room for the camera as well as 3 micro SD cards and additional storage. Alright, so you're back to me and you want to know what I think about the Insta360 Ace 2 Pro. Well, you probably already realize I love it, but I bet you don't realize the following. Check this out. If I reach my hands back here, these are the Ace Pro from last year, as well as this third one. So let me just move the new one out of the way. So last year when Insta360 came out with the Ace Pro, I loved it so much. I love the quality of the image so much that I stopped using GoPro cameras. Yep, I know GoPro people are out there are pretty sad. So for the past year, I've been using the Insta360 Ace Pro to record all my product reviews. That means if you go watch any of my videos over the last year, any review I made of any product, the cameras used are the Insta360 Ace Pro. And I know there's a lot of people out there really confused that they thought on my hat cam, when they saw me with my hat cam on, they thought it was a GoPro. No, it's always been an Insta360 Ace Pro. So my plan going forward is I'm going to replace all the Insta360 Ace Pro cameras with the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. And yes, that means I'm going to go and buy one the same as you right now that they're available for purchase. And I'll buy one, and reviews going forward for the year 2024 and 2025 will all be filmed with the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. So that means bye-bye again, once again, the GoPro. I still like GoPros, but they have a limited use function. And the final thing I want to say, and every content creator who received this camera will say the same thing, is that in the short time we have been given this camera to review, there's been about, 4 firmware updates. They keep updating the firmware, and every time they update the firmware in the camera, it gets better and better and better. And I was talking to the company and they said more firmware updates are coming out. So by the time you buy this, it will just keep getting better and better and better. You'll keep getting firmware updates because they're improving the image. Every time someone reports a glitch that they see something's not just right, well, then they fix it and they put out a firmware update. So bonus to Insta360. All right, so if you haven't realized by now, the links to this product are below. That's how I get paid to do these videos. Since nobody sponsors me or pays me, that's how I get paid. If you buy through my link, well, I get some money back, and then that helps out me to go forward and pay my hydro bill. So if you have any questions on the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, post them below and I will get back to you with the answer. If you enjoyed this video review, trying to keep it super cool, super exciting, super honest, well then give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you in a future video with many more cool product reviews. Till then, I say bye!